God has good in mind for us. He is calling us to something exciting and beautiful. From the first time he called out to Abraham to leave his father and to step away from what was familiar, the place he had grown up, into a journey of exploration, uncertainty, excitement, and adventure, he knew that he was going to take Abraham to a good place, and he promised that to Abraham. He didn't tell him what it was going to look like, but he told him it was going to be good. Abraham struck out and eventually found that good place. Later, after the Israelites had gone to Egypt at a time of famine and had become enslaved there, God promised again to lead them away from what they knew to something better. In the first few books of the Bible, Moses speaks of a word from God that he would lead them to a place, a land flowing with milk and honey. Do you ever wonder why that phrase was used over and over again to describe the land that God had for them? Well, I have. And of course, as a gardener, I love beauty. I love the green of grass, the fragrance and the beauty of flowers. And of course, for there to be milk and honey, there needs to be grass and flowers. Not just a little grass and a few flowers, but for there to be the kind of flow that God talks about, there needed to be plenty. So the land flowing with milk and honey was a land of verdure, of lush greenness, and a land popping with beautiful flowers and blossoms. It was a place where there was plenty, so that the cows or the goats that ate the grass, the bees that went to the flowers, would produce not just enough for themselves, but enough for the humans that dwelt there to enjoy the overflow of milk and honey. What a great God we have that wants us to live in a place of abundance, a place not of scarcity, but of fullness, a place of fatness and sweetness. Of course, milk is such a great thing that allows us to enjoy the enjoyment of sour cream and half, butter and cheese. What a great substance it is to enrich our lives. And honey, well, honey is one of the only sweet substances that's good for your gut, in contrast to things like sugar and artificial sweeteners. Honey is good, it's pleasant to the soul and good for the body. So a land flowing with milk and honey is decidedly to be desired. It's a good thing. Now, you might also think about milk and honey as reflective of God's provision of the land, like a woman who provides milk and honey from the outflow of her body. In the Song of Solomon, in fact, the milk and honey are used as imagery to speak of the sweetness of the connection between a man and a woman. In chapter 4, verse 11, Solomon says this: "Your lips, O my spouse, drip as the honeycomb. Honey and milk are under your tongue." Now that's one sweet kiss, right? Honey and milk are under your tongue. Well, the rest of the chapter gets juicier still and speaks of the woman as a garden that the man will enter and be satisfied. It's a beautiful and somewhat sexy portrayal of the connection between a man and a woman. In chapter 5, the following chapter, the man, the husband, speaks thus of his encounter with his wife. He says, I have come to my garden, my sister, my bride. I have gathered my myrrh with my spice. I have eaten my honeycomb with my honey. I have drunk my wine with my milk. There it is again, milk and honey, in that sweet connection between two mature lovers who've covenanted with one another. God wants to covenant with us, and we are called the bride of Christ. And one day, we'll not only get to sit at the wedding table and enjoy the fruits of the land, but also enjoy the fruit of intimacy with the one who loves us most. One of the cool things I love about the idea of milk and honey is that It indicates that God will provide for us just what we need at any stage of our journey with Him. When do we need milk more than when we're infants? And we come into relationship with God. He feeds us like a mother, the milk that she provides for a child. Milk that not just sustains us and nourishes us, but which protects us. The mother's milk provides a protective impact for the child to keep the child healthy as it begins to mature. However, honey is not a good thing for infants. Feeding honey to an infant can be deadly. It's not until the child matures a little that honey begins to be something that is age appropriate. Of course, if we think about honey as being reflective of that sweet connection between a husband and wife, it's only in maturity as humans that we are able to safely partake of that honey. God wants to provide for us every step of our journey, what is age appropriate, what we need at any given stage in our life with Him. God wants us to grow up, and He will provide all we need as we look to Him. My prayer for you today is that you find yourself enjoying a land of milk and honey, a landscape in your life with God that provides the lushness, the beauty, the provision that you need to grow up in Him, not just to be survive, but to thrive, to enjoy His goodness, and to give Him thanks day by day for His precious provision of grace through Jesus Christ. I love you. Bye.